I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Game of Thrones series. This is episode 3 of season 2 and it is called What is Dead May Never Die. Last episode, we saw the Gold Cloaks catch up to the group getting led to the Night's Watch and threaten the main guy because they're looking for Gendry and they say they're going to come back with more soldiers. The Night's Watch guy stood his ground, but it is not looking good for Arya and Gendry. And we also met the legend Jaqen H'ghar quickly. Shout outs to Jaqen, he becomes a much bigger part of this going forward. Daenerys is still stranded in the absolute middle of nowhere and Jon and the rest of the Night's Watch have made their way to Craster's Keep and Jon spotted Craster sacrificing one of the male infants to the White Walkers and then Craster knocked Jon out after spotting him, and that's where the episode ended, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. This is episode 3, season 4, What is Dead May Never Die. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it.
Bastard's been meddling where he shouldn't. I want you and your men gone.
I wonder why Lord Mormont is so quick to abide by his rules. Why doesn't he see just killing him and taking over this hold as a smarter option than constantly having to pander to a horrible piece of shit?
You took the baby into the woods, the newborn. What business is that of yours?
This part of the story really does confuse me. Can someone explain to me the benefit or the necessity of Lord Commander Mormont having to keep Craster alive, even though he knows that's what he does?
He's a monster. Many a time, that monster's been the difference between life and death for our rangers.
It's not really Craster though, is it? It's just his house.
Whatever it was, I dare say you'll see it again.
Oh, well at least the child sacrifice didn't dissuade them from returning in any way.
Hodor! Hodor! Rouse Bran, will you? It's time for his lessons.
I wonder who Hodor was Hodoring there. Ah, it's Bran walking into his own wolf again. That's such a cool upgrade if you lose the ability to walk. I would trade my legs for the ability to go into other animals and get to fly about and shit.
Old Nan used to tell me stories about magical people who could live inside stags.
Stories.
So she was lying.
It shows how little exposure even the most northern families have had to Phenomenon Beyond the Wall, because warging isn't even that rare. Many wildlings have that ability, so they haven't even seen wildlings who can do it. Surely the Night's Watch must have seen stuff like that before.
I've studied the higher mysteries, and all who study these mysteries try their hand at spells. I was no different.
I feel like I'm being really critical this episode, noticing things, but again, does this make sense? Because on the other side of the world right now is a place where witches are trained, you know, where the Red Lady comes from, and they certainly have the ability to do spells and stuff like that. So is this just another phenomenon that not even a wise maester who's studied the highest mysteries would be familiar with?
The dragons are gone, the giants are dead, and the children of the forest forgotten.
Just interesting, because the Maesters are supposed to be the holders of all the knowledge that came before in that world, and even they have clearly been miseducated if someone of his esteem and his higher studies knows nothing about these things.
I got him!
I love Lady Marjorie. She is the hottest woman in this whole show to me. She was my crush in Game of Thrones, yeah? Lady Marjorie. But that was a terrible cheerleading attempt. Sit the fuck back down. Exactly.
Well fought. Approach.
I know who this is. This is fucking Brienne, isn't it? I love Brienne of Tarth. Oh my fucking god, it's a fucking woman!
Never quite in that fashion.
No, my love. My brother fought valiantly for you.
Loras looks so butthurt about this defeat.
Done. Rise, Brienne of the Kingsguard.
What a great first appointment by Renly. You can't do any better than Brienne and your Kingsguard straight away.
I swear to you, I will see the Lannisters answer for your husband's murder. When I take King's Landing,
He seems incredibly confident of himself, does Renly. I mean, compared to everybody else in this war, he has the least military experience, but he has one of the largest armies, so I suppose that compensates for a lot.
If Robb Stark wants a pact with us, he should come himself, not hide behind his mother's skirt.
Oh, did someone just get their ass handed to them in a duel? Man up. Of all the outfits kings have in this show, I'm not sure about Renly's gloves, man. It makes it look like he's about to go do some gardening.
Better, Your Grace. They don't know their own sizes or...
You can't tell me he didn't have a watering can in his hand 2 seconds before they rolled camera there.
I pity them.
Why?
Because it won't last. Because they are the Knights of Summer and winter is coming.
Is that what the Tyrell Knights are known as? Knights of Summer? So they traditionally start to do terribly in fights when winter comes. That's a really bad reputation to have, that you're only efficient 50% of the time.
If it please you, Brienne's enough. I'm no lady.
Another thing that irks me rewatching this is we learn later on that any knight can make another knight. Well, Sir Loras Tyrell is already a knight and Brienne has just been inducted into Renly Baratheon's King Guard. Shouldn't that automatically warrant her a knighthood during this episode? You know, from Loras, for example? Or anybody? Renly?
Are you angry with me, brother?
You lying bitch.
Well, yeah, I'm assuming he's a little bit pissed off. If I didn't realise my sister had tricked me into doing that, I would never speak to the bitch again.
Why didn't you tell me?
I wanted to see who you were first. And I did.
That's a terrible excuse. That makes zero sense. I wanted to see if you would initiate flirtation with a female? I mean, what the fuck does that even mean?
A ship. You give her 30 and I get 1.
The sea bitch. We thought she'd be perfect for you.
Unnecessary shade there, Yara. Literally, what has Theon ever done to you? You've been such an asshole to him ever since he's returned.
I'm a proven warrior.
Your brothers were warriors, both of them dead at the hands of those you seem so eager to protect.
Oh, you mean the guy you bent over for and traded your own son to? That guy, yeah.
Our words.
We do not sow.
We do not sow. We are ironborn.
It is a really shit quote, that. We don't work hard for the fruits of our labour, we steal. It's a very parasitic mindset.
After he crushed you, did you take what was yours then?
Fuck it, I would have took the slap too to get to say that to him. He deserved that speech.
You gave me away like I was some dog you didn't want anymore. And now you curse me because I've come home.
I'm on Theon's side 100% here. I do not know what these people are thinking treating him like this.
Your other family.
I have no other family.
Don't you?
And you forget how equally responsible Yara is in these scenes. When I think about it retroactively, I always blame his father for making him do what he does, but Yara's been just a bigger dick to him since he's returned rewatching this.
Why? You think your father can hear me? He's 300 miles away!
What an unnecessarily problematic twat.
What is a scullion?
Kitchen wench.
A kitchen wench?
Yes.
Yeah, they should have never have put the word wench into that job title. It really takes away from the prestige of it a little bit.
Language can be a bit tricky here.
Oh, I'm too stupid to understand. The stupid foreign girl.
Oh my god, I would have shipped this woman to Dorne in a box within an hour of this conversation. He's given her simple advice to keep a low profile, to keep them both safe, and she's been so dangerous about it and unnecessarily offended.
Counting the days until the fighting's done, and I can pledge my love to the king in sight of the gods.
Oh, poor Sansa. Every single line she says this season sounds like it's being delivered at gunpoint.
Even if he does, Sansa will do her duty. Won't you, little dove?
It's not even really what they've done, because wars happen, people die in wars, but it's the sheer lack of compassion Cersei shows to Sansa, given that she's just lost her father and dangling the possibility of her losing her brother in her face. Unnecessarily cruel, really, isn't it? And just evil.
Your chamber pot is empty.
Clean the table.
This is a really awkward pairing, isn't it?
Handmaidens wait on ladies, not the other way around. And I don't have time to answer 1,000 questions and teach you how to do your job.
But I don't even see this as Sansa being rude to her in this scene. This is Sansa, like, letting out her emotions to the only person she's now able to talk down to, or talk to in any way humanly right now. So yeah, not holding it against her, she's just having a rough time, and this is how she's finally able to release a bit of it, I guess.
I haven't had a proper shit in 6 days.
I've encountered this problem before, my lord. The stresses of power.
Don't know what the blue stuff in that vial is, but I know they put it in curry.
And the crown must forge new alliances. And these alliances must often be sealed in matrimony.
This scene is absolutely genius. This is the scene where Tyrion gives the 3 people the 3 different sets of information as to who he plans to marry off Princess Marcella to, and then he knows which one of them is in communication with Cersei. Such a smart move.
But remember, the Queen mustn't know.
Ooh, the Queen mustn't know.
I love that Varys passes this test as well, just further proof that he is actually a man of his word.
You must tell no one.
Tell no one what?
And it shocks me that Littlefinger was not the guy to spill the information.
And I suppose you want me to broker this agreement?
Who better?
It is quite interesting though that the 2 guys that passed the test were the 2 Master of Whispers, and the 1 guy that didn't was the Maester, who's just slightly behind them in levels of playing the game. But also, I noticed that Varys and Baelish both questioned why he would want to marry off the princess to those 2 choices, so maybe they actually saw through it.
Janos Slint. And he was given Harrenhal too, until you snatched it away.
Let me put it out there right now, Janos Slint definitely did not deserve a castle. Castle Black is good enough for that guy.
Remember, the Queen mustn't know.
It shows you how much the gain in power means to Littlefinger though, because you know he would tell Cersei 99% of things, but because Tyrion also promised him that raise up in prestige and making him Lord of the Riverlands, he was like, cool, don't worry about it, won't tell Cersei a thing.
A member of the Kingsguard. As if I wasn't humiliated enough already.
Well, you're meant to be some amazing knight and you got your dick knocked into the dirt. She deserves to be a Kingsguard.
You're jealous. Jealous of Brienne the Beauty.
That's just cruel. The guy knows that Renly's gay and is in no way interested in Brienne, yet he still chose to mock her because they all perceive her as ugly.
Brides aren't usually virgins 2 weeks after their wedding night.
And Marjorie's a virgin?
Officially?
Now we all know my Bady Marjorie is no virgin.
I should warn you, I had quite a bit of wine.
As is your right, you are a king.
She's just the fucking best. I know she says all this shit because she's been trained by her mother and grandmother to play this game, yeah? But on a surface level, she's fucking perfect, right?
This way? Or this way?
Yeah, that way's working great.
Some say the beauty most desired is the beauty concealed.
No one says that, Renly. You're full of shit.
I'm sorry.
Do you want my brother to come in and help? Well, he could get you started. I know he wouldn't mind.
See? She's even perfect in every way if her husband is a homosexual man. Still perfect. How could you argue against this woman?
They want to tear us apart, and the best way to stop them is to put your baby in my belly.
She is talking so much sense in this scene that she's almost showing herself to be a wiser queen than he would be a king should their alliance have worked. And also, it would have fucked things up even after what happens in this scene, in this season, because if he had impregnated her, I don't think she would have still have been able to, you know, get with Joffrey later on, with Renly's baby. Don't know how that would have worked.
Some would say she was born for this.
I will not let you ship her off to Dorne as I was shipped off to Robert Baratheon.
And just like that, we know the Maester is a little rat.
We're going to need their support in the war your son started.
She'll be a hostage.
A guest.
I also like that he decided he was going to go through with whichever story he had told to the rat of the 3. Like if it was Littlefinger, would Marcella have been sent to the Vale?
Just how safe do you think Marcella is if the city falls? Do you want to see her raped? Butchered like the Targaryen children?
And that part, I don't even think he's playing a game with Cersei. In the long term, I guess it does make sense to A, strengthen an alliance between houses by marrying off the princess, but B, getting her out of King's Landing when there's the threat of like 4 different kings sieging the city right now. Ah, man. This is so tragic. He's so close to warning Robb. And he let his bitch of a father brainwash him. Theon's dad has got to be one of the worst house leaders, like right up there with Walder Frey in this show, in the north.
You would this day consecrate your faith to the drowned god.
That's one thing that would have been interesting to explore in this show. I have watched videos on YouTube telling us about other parts of the world which were not used in the show, and apparently there's like people with blue skin in one area and mermen and mermaids and things like that. So even though they worship this Kraken, the Kraken might actually exist, and you wouldn't want to waste an episode on like a bunch of people fighting a giant Kraken and turn Game of Thrones into a Mandalorian show. But how interesting would it have been, for instance, when Yara was sailing back to the Iron Islands at the end of the show, for example, if she just looked out to the sea line and saw a fucking Kraken rise up and then resubmerge, or just like, you know, a little cameo like that. I think it would have been a cool visual just to see it one time.
I don't appreciate being made a fool of, dwarf.
Well then, why are you so adept at doing it to yourself?
Robb Stark will never release the Kingslayer.
No, he won't. But his mother might. How would you like to see your beloved cat again?
At least Tyrion had a little thing in his back pocket to re-offer Littlefinger when Littlefinger found out that previous scam was just bullshit.
Told the Queen about my plans to send Marcella to Dorne.
No! Never! No, it's a falsehood.
What a little weasel of a liar he is.
Eunuch has spies everywhere.
Cut off his manhood and feed it to the goats.
No.
It sounds quite brutal, but I wish Tyrion had just went through with that shit in this scene. This guy tortures the poor working woman of this city with his absolutely grotesque self, and they could do with a break.
Lannister, I always served Lannister.
Get him out of my sight. Throw him in one of the black cells.
Who knows?
Such a pathetic way to have lived his life. What has he really gained from it? Just survival? Is that all he wanted? Just to survive in this world? There's got to be less pathetic ways to do it. Completely understandable. That scene could have been an extra 10 minutes with Tyrion returning and just adding more and more coins to that stack until he felt it was justified what that poor woman had just been through.
Well played, my Lord Hand. But should I be worried?
At least Varys appreciated the genius of the plan. Littlefinger didn't seem that impressed.
Tomorrow's a long march. 30 miles if you don't piss on us.
Fucking hell, how many hours would a 30-mile march take? That's basically all day. Trying to think which of the Stark children this has got to be roughest for right now. And I guess it's got to be Arya. Even though Sansa is equally alienated, she's A, slightly older, and B, at least she knows King's Landing a little bit. Arya is on the road with a bunch of people she has no idea who they are, going to, she hopes, her brother, but she again isn't sure and has never been there before.
Good white teeth. Blue eyes. One of those dimpled chins all the girls like.
Was his last name Douglas?
Got to the point where I would say his name every night before I went to bed. Willem.
Oh shit, I didn't realise it was this guy who gave Arya the idea for, you know, repeating her little list before she went to sleep.
I buried an axe so deep into Willem's skull I had to bury him with it.
That would have been an interesting shaped coffin.
That'll help you sleep, eh?
It's so great that even characters like this guy get a backstory in this show and flesh themselves out slightly.
Arm yourselves!
Get up.
Out of sight, both of you.
Ah, this is a rough scene. As this guy said in the last episode, the Night's Watch is supposed to be out of the reach of the Gold Cloaks. So the Gold Cloaks are all breaking the King's law right now doing this, even though they're doing it on the orders of the King, but it's just a shame that there's never any comeuppance for them breaking such a sacred law of, you know, people who choose to go to the Night's Watch get left alone.
Drop your weapons. I don't think I will.
Such a legend to the end.
I always hated crossbows. Takes too long to load.
Yes. So happy he got one good kill on a Lannister guard at least. It seems even more brutal when they slowly insert the sword. Is that really necessary? A man can fucking kill every single person in this camp with his eyes closed. And think of all the unjust crimes they're committing in the process of finding the right one. They're just assaulting a bunch of Night's Watch soldiers.
Maybe I'll pick my teeth with it.
Oh, this fucking guy.
Something wrong with your leg, boy? Look at it.
You've got to carry me.
To be fair, he should be asking real nicely right about now with an arrow in his knee. Oh, fuck this guy. It's the wickedness and cruelty a lot of these people seem to carry out their jobs with, man. Like, just true evil people.
You want Gendry? You already got him. He loved that helmet.
Such quick thinking by Arya. And thinking about it, she saved 4 lives in that scene because she got Jaqen and those other 2 psychos out of that cage on fire and then saved Gendry there, so she is the true hero of that scene. Okay, and that was episode 3 of season 2 of Game of Thrones, What is Dead May Never Die, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, What is Dead May Never Die, what did I think of that? There was some brilliant scenes in this episode I'd completely forgotten about. One of my favourite scenes in the whole show, actually, is the trick Tyrion plays on Varys Littlefinger and the Mace Stop by giving them all 3 different sets of information as to who he plans to marry Lady Marcella off to, and he just catches the Maester in his bullshit hook, line and sinker. It is a beautiful scene, and it's great to see that old rat getting slung in the cells, because he's actually quite a convincing liar. If I watched him through season 1, he didn't strike me as one of the biggest double-crossing pieces of shit in the whole of King's Landing, which he genuinely is. And we got introduced to Lady Marjorie Tyrell and Brienne Tarth this episode, 2 of the best characters in the whole of Game of Thrones. I love Marjorie Tyrell, how she operates as a manipulator but on the side of good, and Brienne is just an absolutely amazing character through and through. I think everybody who watches this show absolutely loves Brienne, and she shows how formidable she is from the very first scene, because the Flowers Knight was shown to beat the Mountain in a joust in the early episodes, and then Brienne has just absolutely pulverised him in front of Renly, so shows where she is in the ranking of great warriors in this world straight away. And yeah, I'm kind of torn about Lord Mormont revealing that he knows what Craster's doing with the infants. Seriously, maybe there's something I'm missing, maybe there's something the books explain which the show's just left out, but to me there seems to be no logical nor morally correct reason why he hasn't just wiped out Craster, saved all them women, brought them south of the wall, and then used that keep as an outpost for the Night's Watch when they venture north. Is there a reason at all for that? Have I missed something? And yeah, the Gold Cloaks came back with backup for the Night's Watch recruits that were heading up to the wall. It's a horrible scene because we got to spend a little bit of time with that guy, literally just before the attack scene actually. We got to hear his whole backstory about he killed that guy Willem and happily went to the wall after he'd done it, and he'd looked out for Arya from the moment Ned was beheaded. We were rooting for him. He's like the only sort of guardian she had right now. And then he's just cut down in front of us, boom, another person lost, so Arya feels, again, more vulnerable than ever because now she doesn't have this guy watching her back. And another point I brought up is, you know, there is supposed to be some sort of sanctity to joining the Night's Watch, so the fact that the King's Guard just don't give a fuck about any of it and just run through them all trying to achieve their goal, it's like law means nothing, and that as long as you're following the King's orders, the law means nothing. And I know that should be obvious, everything's corrupt corrupt, but you know, just because corruption is common and frequent doesn't mean that I want to dilute myself to it and become pacified and accept it. It's always fucking horrible to see to me. But as I said, Arya, MVP of the scene, not only frees Jaqen and the other two guys from the cage by giving Jaqen an axe, but yeah, also thinks on her feet and covers for Gendry by saying the kid that the guard had just killed was Gendry. And because the bull's helmet was right next to him, it worked perfectly, because that's the only piece of information they had to go on for him. And that guard, I don't know his name, but instantly just a wicked guy, isn't he? The way he was talking to Arya, and then the way he executed that boy on the ground because he'd already took an arrow to his knee. There's just such a clear difference between a soldier following orders and a wicked person who just so happens to be given the job of a soldier, and that's what that guy is, so you just hope instantly he gets some sort of comeuppance. So next stop for Arya and Gendry and Jaqen is Harrenhal, and I'm looking forward to that next episode because I remember how that shit goes down, so yeah, can't wait for that. If you've liked this reaction, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below, and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog, you get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.